Hey guys, today I've got a few quick tips for my Sorceress players out there for a smoother gameplay experience. This is going to be a quick one. If you find anything useful, smash like and subscribe for me. So let's go over here and talk about a stagger or stun threshold first. So if you are playing Sorceress, one of the things that's going to kill you a lot in this game is getting chain staggered, especially if you're running something like Chaos Inoculation. So max life is 1. Now, why is that? By default, the game gives you 30% of your maximum HP as your default stun threshold, right? So if you're using Chaos Inoculation and your max HP is 1, your max stagger threshold is basically nothing. You're going to get chain staggered so easily. This is one thing that can kill you very quickly, even if you don't have Chaos Inoculation on and you only have, I don't know, say 1 to 2,000 max HP, it's not going to give you a big stagger threshold. There are a couple of interesting things. I think you can come up here on the tree just for 3 points over here. We can get 30% from our max energy shield to stun threshold plus 20% increased stun recovery, and then we get an extra 12% from these two nodes. Well, it's 20% if we add these all together, it's 50%. So you only have to take these 3 nodes here and you get a big chunk of stun threshold. This is going to enable you to stay alive in so many of these maps compared to just getting chain staggered. This is really, really powerful. This really pushed my build from feeling okay to actually feeling like pretty strong. So the other thing you can do is come down here for asceticism. I'm probably not pronouncing that one correctly, but stun threshold is based on 30% of your energy shield instead of your life. So depending where you're routing, as you can see, I've come down here to grab some of this stuff, mana cost efficiency and crit chance for my build here, right? And this is not actually that far away. I could spend just a few more points to come up here and get even more stun threshold if I'm not pathing my way up here to these ones. You can come down in here. If you add these two clumps together, it becomes very, very powerful. So of course, it is based on your maximum energy shield. So if you are not running high energy shield on your build, this is actually not going to be all that valuable. But for most Sorceress players, you are probably going to be running energy shield because it is really powerful. So next up, let's talk about this Archon buff. So Archon is pretty interesting. I'm running the Lightning Archon here. Gain Lightning Archon after spending 100% of your maximum mana. So after you spend a certain amount of mana, you get a big 25% buff, and all of your spells are converted to Lightning when you have the Lightning one on. And then, of course, there is the Cold and the Fire stuff over here. But for Lightning, so the Archon buff is pretty strong, but I want to show you a couple of interesting things. If we come over here, we have the Archon recovery period expires 25% faster. We've also got 30% increased Archon buff duration. Now, depending if you're pathing over here or not, if you are coming here for the energy shield, you can only take a few extra points to come in here. You can also pop a crystal in, or one of these jewels in a from nothing, which we'll get into in a second. Over here on Elemental Equilibrium, this will enable you to take stuff like these Archon buffs, as well as stuff like the Elemental Infusion ones for, for free without having to path over here. Not for free, you still have to use the passive points, right? So, but the other thing I want to point out with this Archon stuff is over here. Archon buffs also grant 20% to all elemental resistances and also grant 10% extra movement speed. So this node over here is really, really nice. As you can see in my tree here, I have the From Nothing Diamond. This one is a little bit more expensive because it is Eldritch Battery, which is pretty powerful. As you can see, we've got very strong nodes in here for a lightning user sorceress build. We even have crit chance. Now, I pathed into here because I wanted the extra crit chance from these nodes too. But we also have Dreamcatcher, which is pretty nice. 25% increased spell damage while on full energy shield. And we get 75% energy shield from our equipped focus. That's really nice to be able to actually hit these nodes without pathing over to them. So this From Nothing Diamond is one to keep your eye out for boosting your power through these means. But I think it's worth paying attention to the increased movement speed you get while your Archon buff is active. So this is really, really nice. And also the extra elemental resistances can really help you out in the early game or in the sort of early to mid end game before you have all your resistances totally sorted out. So Dreamcatcher is really nice, but these ones over here, Lightning Quick and Drench, it's really, really nice, as well as Arcane Intensity. We can just take all of this stuff, right, without having to path all the way through here, which is really, really nice. So the From Nothing Diamond for the Eldritch Battery here is pretty expensive, but there's some other interesting places you can put it. Elemental Equilibrium, like I mentioned earlier. This is an interesting one if you're not pathing over here. Another really interesting one is actually to put it down here, Mind Over Matter. Now, you don't actually have to take this node, but there's some really, really nice stuff around here too. So Elemental Damage, Arcane Surge, which is really, really nice to get the buff there. Elemental Resistances plus damage is pretty nice. Storm Charge. This is the one I've imbued onto my amulet for now, as it has some nice crit chance stuff going on, and I've got working on a crit sort of build here. So there are some really interesting places you can put one of these From Nothing's. Mind Over Matter is an interesting one. It's got some pretty decent stuff in here. I don't know if you want to go Dependable Ward. I mean, Energy Shield is really nice to have an extra node like this as well. If you were going to put it on here, just taking one of these for one passive point without having to path over is really, really nice. Okay, so one of the other things I do want to mention here in the video is mana cost efficiency. These nodes here are pretty powerful. So 20% increased cost efficiency plus 2 8%ers here, right? So we're up over 35%. Just taking 3 nodes, and there's some good stuff down here if you path in this direction too. We've got Energy Shield, we've got increased intelligence, a percentage based, and a bunch of increased crit stuff too. We also have Recover, Max Mana on Kill. These are really, really nice nodes as well. These, you could spend 3 here for 4% Max Mana on Kill, which is actually pretty strong too. So, but the mana cost efficiency is what I want to point out here. These nodes are really, really strong, especially if you're going to run Archmage. It's only 3 nodes if you are pathing around here. Most people will probably path up one of these 2 sides, so you can probably come around here and only have to spend a few extra points, which is really nice. But also just want to point out you can get some more mana recovery rate over here, which is pretty interesting. So mana recovery rate and mana regeneration rate is different. So the base rate, I believe, is set to a percentage of your total maximum mana without any modifiers on it. So this increased mana recovery rate will actually improve the base rate, and then any percentage ones will be added on top of that. So the regular mana regeneration rate percentage one will then be stacked on top of it. So increase the mana recovery rate from one of these sorts of nodes is pretty nice. You have to take 4 in here, but it does give you mana regeneration as well. So you're getting 30% mana regen plus 15% mana recovery rate. So these 4 nodes can be really, really nice, especially if you add on the mana cost efficiency. Now, probably the other best place on the tree to get some is down here. There are 3 nodes, and we can get an additional 36 or so % out of there. Oh, it's a little bit less. That one is a 15. But still, it's 3 nodes if you are pathing in this direction. Now, it just depends what sort of build. If I wanted to go here on my current setup, I'd have to path all the way around on one of these ones. So that's why I haven't gone for these. But if you are pathing in this direction, increased mana cost efficiency over here is really, really nice as well. Speaking of mana cost efficiency, though, there is also efficiency too. Don't forget about this. Supported skills have 40% less cost. Depending on what your build is, this could be very, very nice. It goes very, very well with Archmage. It can sort of counteract what Archmage does to your mana reserves to a certain point. You still need some mana recovery rate and or regeneration rate, but this can be a really, really nice support gem to use in your skills as well. So just lastly, I want to talk about cast speed. So cast speed is obvious to have on your gear and on your main damaging skill, right? But don't sleep on putting some extra cast speed on your support skills. This is actually really, really nice. I started running Flame Wall with the extra cast speed, and it's very, very noticeable how much quicker you throw out your support skills with additional cast speed as well. Now, depending on what you're doing, that might be a bit of a wasted stat to put in here to use a skill gem for, but for my setup here, it actually ended up being really, really nice. I could spew out my triple Flame Wall here very, very quickly. It's really, really nice. So might be something you want to consider. Obviously, cast speed is very, very powerful on your Archmage type Sorceress here either way. So guys, if you found anything in the video useful, consider smashing like and subscribe for me. I'll do a proper build showcase of my endgame build here. We're level 91 at the moment. We're cruising through the tier 15 maps pretty easily. I'm just doing a little bit of XP farming at the moment just to get a little bit higher level. Just hit level 91, as I said. And yeah, the build's been going pretty good. I pivoted to crit hit chance, going from the elemental infusions to a crit chance with infusions, and that is definitely stronger. It's enabled me to output a lot more damage while still staying pretty safe. My energy shield at the moment, almost 8.3 thousand, which isn't too bad. But yeah, I'll do a build showcase on that in the future. So if you found the video useful, smash like and subscribe for me. I'll catch you in the next one, guys. Hope you all have a fantastic, amazing day. Take it easy.